James Lennis, thank you for joining me at my tasting table today. These wines are next from the producer Domaine Bousquet from Argentina. Now we have a Sauvignon Blanc, a Chardonnay, there is a Pinot Noir, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, and this wine is a Cabernet Franc. I'll tell you all about it, so stay tuned. So be sure to subscribe to this channel to see the latest videos that I'm producing. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. At the beginning portion, I want to talk about the white wines from Domaine Bousquet and the red wines to come. You can actually just skip down below to the specific wines you want to see. Now, this producer was founded in 1997 by Jean Bousquet. In 2011, his daughter, Anne Bousquet, and her husband purchased the business from Jean, and they have under planting about 618 acres or 250 hectares. Anne brings to the marketplace with her husband fantastic wines, a good price point, and a lot of things that people are looking for. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. Also joining her was her chief agronomist. His name is Franco Bastias. Now the diurnal shift in growing season is pretty large, from about the mid 90s to about the 60-degree range. So maybe a 30 to 35 degree shift between high temperature to low temperature in the nighttime. Now, if you look at all their certifications, they do have quite a number they're working on. One is Veg Argentina, as well as Fair for Life, which is really looking into the livelihood of the people that are in this community growing the wine grapes and producing the wine. USDA organic certified as relating to that is a U.S. organic wine. They do have organic wines that is certified by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. That means there's no additional sulfites that are added. So right now, I think what Anne Bousquet is working on is really looking at what people are looking for their wines today. Maybe they're looking for very sustainable certified wines, as well as maybe even vegan wines, looking at practices that make the community much more involved and sharing in the winemaking process, but also sharing in terms of making a fair living. So they're working towards a Demeter certification. In addition to that, a certified B Corporation, which I think is also very future looking and important. So I'm going to pull this wine right here and just give a snapshot right here so you can see what I'm looking at. So it's EcoCert. It is a gluten-free wine, vegan-friendly wine, Vino Argentino. And so these are just a few of the things that I think are really, really important to look at. So when I look at vegan-friendly, I think that's really important because what are consumers doing today? If you're at a club warehouse in the United States, you actually don't have anybody to ask. There's no one to ask about the wine. So sometimes it's nice to turn a label around to understand what you are getting. And if you know this brand, Domaine Bousquet, you're going to find that their wines are going to be vegan friendly. And that is a big requirement for some wine enthusiasts today. So I have a great experience of off-premise marketing, wine marketing, and there are just not enough people to go around. So when I look at labels like this, it is really essential because people can register into what they want to get, because sometimes and oftentimes people are just buying wines because and selecting the wines without even a consultation because there's no one to ask about that. That's what these are, really good, impactful labels. So this wine is next. Now this is Domaine Bousquet Tupungato Sauvignon Blanc 2021 vintage. And to me, I think this is a handsome, polished wine where to me it goes down very, very nicely and appreciably. And I think it's one where I do get an audience member who really wants a New Zealand style kind of Sauvignon Blanc, that gooseberry characterization, and some that actually do not want that. To me, I think this is really not the New Zealand style. I would say, based on my experience, this is really a South American Sauvignon Blanc because they just tend to taste this way, which is the gooseberry characterization is really not overpowering. Now, this is a 12.2% ABV, a $13 suggested retail price point. Amazingly good price point. So enjoy this with salads, enjoy this with a variety of dishes, white pizza, pasta dishes, enjoy this with charcuterie cheeses, and on its own. It is really nice. Now the vinification on this wine, it's a manual harvest, first and second weeks in February, cold maceration of 8 degrees centigrade, which is about 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit for 24 hours to extract aromas and flavors. Fermentation with selected yeast at a maximum temperature of 15 degrees centigrade, which is about 59 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 days. So I'm going to talk first about the scent characterization on this, and actually it's quite handsome. So on the nose is expressive of grape skin fruit as well as yellow stone fruit and nuanced floral characterization. And next, the palate notes. So what I enjoy about this experience is the mineral characterization is really the primary experience on this wine. That first touch and sip of this wine is going to give you that really blissful mineral characterization. 92 points out of 100 points. Next is a Chardonnay. This is the 2019 Chardonnay, and this is a Domaine Bousquet Reserve Tupungato 2019 vintage Chardonnay. And here we go with this wine. So these are screw cap wines, which I think for many people who don't want to bring a wine opener to the beach or perhaps to your summer concert series, it's a nice way to put that in your picnic basket, enjoy, take, and open. So to me, I think this is a really fantastic Chardonnay, and I tasted a good number of Chardonnays from Argentina where I think it's proof is in the experience, proof is in the glass, and I think there's so many nice Chardonnays that do come from Argentina. So the fermentation notes are the following. Manual harvest is done the first and second week of March. Fermentation in contact with oak at a temperature between 15 to 17 degrees centigrade, which is about 59 to 62 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 days. Aging for 6 months in contact with oak and lees. So to me, this is a handsome, beautiful wine to enjoy with a, say, roasted chicken. Enjoy this with nice, rich cheeses. So very rich nose of green apple, Asian pear notes, white floral notes, and roasted almonds. Next is the palate characterization. So what I very much enjoy about this wine are its bright tones. So apple notation, Granny Smith apple, quince, almond, and flowers. This is 93 points out of 100 points. Next are the red wines. Now I'm going to start out first with the Pinot Noir, going on to the Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, and the Malbec wine. Now this is a Domaine Bousquet. This is their Pinot Noir Tupungato 2019 vintage, and back label for you to look at here. A really good price point of $18. And so this is again made with organic grapes, and you're going to see that on all their labels. Now this is Domaine Bousquet's Tupungato Pinot Noir 2019 vintage, a rarity for me to taste Pinot Noir from Argentina. Now this is a very nicely produced Pinot Noir wine. Here's a back label for you to look at here, a 14.5% ABV wine. And just to note here, it says on the back label that this is a wine that sees 6 to 8 months in French oak. It is really handsome, gorgeous, beautiful. It is really hard to get a well-produced, I would say, approachable price point, and some people might argue that $18 is not approachable, but when you look at Pinot Noir, you do not want to be drinking a $12 Pinot Noir because they actually don't exist, at least good ones. And so to me, this really gives that definitive characterization of really thoughtful Pinot Noir, and of course the climate is perfect for Pinot Noir in this part of the world. And so first, I'm going to talk about the vinification on this wine. Now, like all their wine grapes that they're producing, it is manually harvested. It's harvested the first week of March. Cold maceration, 8 degrees centigrade, which is about 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit for 72 hours. Fermentation with selected yeast at a temperature between 20 to 25 degrees centigrade, which is about 68 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 days, and 10 days of additional maceration. And to me, I think this really sings praises of beautiful Pinot Noir, and one that is a rarity, especially at this price point. So I'm going to talk first about the nose. So in this very nice violet forward wine, blackberry notes, warming spices, and suede. And next, the palate notation. Very much nice acidity to this wine on the initial experience. Red cherry, blackberry notes, red floral pepper, and spice mix. This is 92 points out of 100 points. And next is a Cabernet Franc. Now this is obviously the Domaine Bousquet Gaia label, and I think it's a really nice, very evocative image. And here's a back label for you to look at here. And this is 100% Cabernet Franc, 15% ABV, $20 suggested retail price point. And in many ways, this is just such a rarity to see 100% varietally labeled Cabernet Franc coming from Argentina. It's often just in a blend, and yes, it's produced, I wouldn't say in the hugest quantities, but it is produced in Argentina, and I think it does a very nice job. And so I'll talk about the winemaking on this. Vinification on this wine is manually harvested by the end of March, cold maceration for 72 hours, fermentation with select yeast at a maximum temperature of 27 degrees centigrade, which is about 80 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 days, maceration for 14 days, aged in French oak between 8 to 10 months. And just smelling this wine, it is really very definitively Cabernet Franc. It's very appreciably Cabernet Franc. And some Cabernet Francs I'm tasting are not necessarily identifiable. They don't have the typicity of being a Cabernet Franc wine when they are indeed 100% Cabernet Franc. So there's no guesswork here. And I enjoy that with this wine. So notes on this are black fruit, spice, and dried herbs. Next is the palate characterization. Beautiful characterization, current confit, a complexity of fresh and dried herbs and pepper notation, and a bit of bay leaf on this, as well as a complexity of fresh and dried herbs, pepper, as well as thyme notes and bay leaf. So this is 92 points out of 100 points. Next is a Cabernet Sauvignon. This is the Domaine Bousquet Cabernet Sauvignon Tupungato 2019 vintage, 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, 14% ABV. So you see very little varietally labeled Cabernet Sauvignon coming from Argentina. It's often going to be a red blend or a Malbec wine. Now, it's manual harvest on this wine between the end of the last week of March as well as the first week of April. Fermentation with select yeast at a maximum temperature between 25 and 27 degrees centigrade, which is about 77 to 80.6 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 days. Very nicely identifiably a Cabernet Sauvignon wine, red, black fruit notes, suede, cedar, bay leaf, and spices. And next, the palate characterization. So very nice palette of warmed red cherries, currant, white pepper, thyme, and violets. This wine is 92 points out of 100 points. And lastly is the Malbec. Now here's a bottle for the Domaine Bousquet Grand Malbec Wine 2018 vintage, bottle number 97203 and 14.8% ABV. Back label for you to look at here. Now this is a composition of 85% Malbec, 5% Cabernet Sauvignon, 5% Merlot, and 5% Syrah. And to me, I was actually surprised to see Syrah, $25 suggested retail price point. And in my humble opinion, it's completely worth that price point. Now the fruit is hand harvested by the end of April, and hand selection of grape and cluster, cold maceration of 10 degrees centigrade, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, fermentation with select yeast at a maximum temperature of 25 to 28 degrees centigrade, which is about 77 to 80.2 degrees Fahrenheit, 100% malolactic fermentation, and aged in French oak. On the nose, it is identifiably, in my opinion, a Malbec wine, but to me this is a much more satisfying Malbec than most Malbecs I taste from Argentina, because I think the attention to detail is evident, but it's such a fine, beautiful Malbec wine. So very nice red, black, bramble notation on this wine, violety, suede notation, as well as bay leaf, and very, again, highly identifiably a Malbec wine. Next is the palate characterization, followed by the point score. So on this red raspberry, black cherry notes, graphite, pepper, black pepper, additionally on this dried red rose petal, and notation of cardamom. This wine is 93 points out of 100 points. More information on the producer down below. Questions and comments, please let us there. Please give a like to this video. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. And if you already have, merci beaucoup to you. Muchas gracias to you. I do appreciate it. I will see you in the next video review for more wines on my tasting table that I want to talk about and share with you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. I will see you in the next video. Beautiful, gorgeous, outstanding wines at a fantastic price point. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon. Salud.